Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. It is Thursday. And dude, the AI news cycle is absolutely wild today. I am Taylor, your resident hype man, and I am so ready.
And I am Morgan. I will try to keep Taylor grounded today because, honestly, some of these headlines are getting a bit out of hand.
Hey, I just bring the news. But seriously, we have got major updates from Meta, Google, NVIDIA, and a harsh reality check on AI coding. Ready to jump in?
I am always ready for a reality check. What is the very first story you've got for us today?
Okay, so I saw this crazy article on TechCrunch. Meta just made a deal to acquire Moltbook. At first glance, it seems kind of random, but it is actually all about AI agents.
Moltbook? That is a really interesting pivot for them. Usually Meta buys social platforms or VR tech. What does a company like Moltbook have to do with AI agents and Meta's long-term strategy?
Right. So TechCrunch says this deal points to a future built entirely around an agentic web. Basically, Meta sees AI agents totally reshaping how advertising and commerce work online, like literally having bots doing the shopping.
Wait, an agentic web? So instead of me clicking on an ad, my personal AI agent sees the ad, evaluates it, and maybe buys the product for me? That fundamentally breaks the current ad model we know.
Exactly, dude. It is so cool, but also trippy. Meta makes all its money on human eyeballs looking at ads. So if humans stop browsing and agents take over, Meta needs to figure out how to advertise directly to our bots.
Advertising to bots. That is a terrifying thought, honestly. But it makes perfect sense why Meta's investing here. They cannot afford to miss the shift if the web moves from human-driven browsing to agent-driven task completion.
Totally. It is like they are future-proofing their entire revenue stream. I mean, we are already seeing agents everywhere, so they have to adapt.
I wonder if that means we will start seeing subscription models for these shopping agents. Like, pay $10 a month and your bot finds you the best deals without seeing ads.
Oh, that is a wild prediction. If I never had to scroll through a messy shopping site again, I would totally pay for that. But we will have to wait and see.
Speaking of things being everywhere, what is this big Google news you mentioned? Something about unifying data spaces? That definitely caught my analytical ear.
Oh, yeah, you are going to love this one. According to the Decoder, Google just introduced Gemini Embedding 2. It is their first native multimodal embedding model, and it brings text, images, video, and audio into one single vector space.
Hold on, a single vector space for all of that? Normally, if you are building an AI pipeline, you need separate embedding models for text and images, and then you have to stitch them together. This does it all at once?
Dude, yes! You just throw your text documents, your audio files, and your videos into the exact same space. Mark Tech Post also covered it, saying it completely cuts out the need for multiple models in retrieval augmented generation or RAG systems.
That is actually a massive technical shift. Cross-modal retrieval, like searching a video database using a complex text prompt, has always been a huge headache for developers. High-dimensional storage just got a lot cleaner.
Right? It is like Google just handed developers a universal translator for data. You do not have to translate an image to text first. The AI just natively understands that they mean the exact same thing.
If it works as advertised in production, that is going to make enterprise AI systems so much more efficient. No more clunky workarounds just to search a multimedia database. It is a big deal.
Exactly. It is going to make AI way smarter at handling messy, real-world files. But speaking of messy, real-world stuff, I have a funny story next.
Oh boy. All right, let us hear it then. What is the messy real-world story you found?
So we always hear about AI replacing software engineers, right? Well, I found this study by METR on the Decoder, and it turns out half of the AI written code that passes industry tests would actually get rejected by real developers.
Oh, wow. That is exactly the reality check I was waiting for. So you are saying these AI models are passing the benchmarks but failing in actual practice? What specific benchmark were they looking at?
They looked at SWE Bench, which is basically the gold standard right now for testing AI coding skills. The AI solves the problem perfectly in the test environment, but when real project maintainers reviewed the code, they were like, nope, reject.
I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. A sterile test environment is completely different from a massive legacy code base. Real developers care about readability, security, edge cases, and architectural standards. AI probably just brute forces the quickest solution.
Totally. It is like passing your driving test in an empty parking lot and then immediately trying to merge onto a chaotic, packed highway. The AI just does not understand the unwritten rules of human code bases yet.
Which really highlights the flaw in how we evaluate these models. If we just look at benchmark scores, we think the AI is a senior developer, but in reality, it is more like an overly confident intern.
Yes, an intern who writes total spaghetti code but insists it works perfectly because the unit test passed. It just shows human engineers are still very much needed.
Well, humans might still be needed for coding, but the hardware guys are certainly not slowing down. Did you say NVIDIA had a massive new release today as well?
Oh man, did they ever. MarkTech Post reported that NVIDIA just released Nemotron 3 Super. And get this, it is a 120 billion parameter open source model. They built it specifically for complex multi-agent applications. It is an absolute beast.
120 billion parameters and it is open source? That is a serious flex from NVIDIA. The gap between proprietary models like GPT-4 and open source models is closing so incredibly fast. What is the architecture like?
That is the craziest part. It is a hybrid Mamba attention mixture of experts, or MOE, model. Because of that unique hybrid setup, they claim it delivers 5 times higher throughput specifically for agentic AI workflows compared to standard architectures.
Mamba and attention combined? That is fascinating. Mamba's great for processing super long sequences efficiently, while attention is better for deep reasoning. By combining them, they're basically optimizing for speed and smarts simultaneously.
Dude, you hit the nail on the head, and there's that buzzword again. Agentic AI. NVIDIA is explicitly designing this hardware and software to run massive fleets of AI agents. It all ties back perfectly to the meta story.
It really does. Meta's preparing the web for agents, Google is giving them a unified way to understand media, and NVIDIA's providing the high-speed brains to run them. The pieces are all coming together.
It is honestly like watching the sci-fi movies I grew up with become reality. A little scary, but mostly just incredibly cool to see all this happen in real time.
It is definitely a massive paradigm shift. We will have to see if these agents actually deliver on the hype, or if they just write spaghetti code like the interns.
That is so true. That is it for today. We will be back tomorrow with more AI news.